other insurance products based on how you are. From the banking sector, there was an issue at some point where you would find a certain person has taken a loan from here, defaulted, goes to bank B, default, goes to bank C, default. Coming on credit data, I think I solved some of those, but we can even go more. One other company that we might also look at is Allstate. These are all from the US. This one uses what we call telematics, which is telecommunication and monitoring. So in the cars, there's GPS. You also add some sensors. So the time I'm coming to claim, you have the data about what speed was I driving at, what location. So we're no longer relying on the police. Coming to Africa, you've got the rights of Pura that have been insuring people on agriculture and all that. Maybe some of you might have dealt with them. Malawi side, I don't know. Do we have people using AI? We've got insurers here, so I will not answer the one for Malawi. In conclusion, big data and the AI are transforming the insurance industry. And you guys, you have a lot of data already that should be able to make a decision based on. Not just coming to me because you've seen the car outside and you're saying, this one I can get this amount. My worry is not the car insurance. My worry is totally different. That's my message to you today. Upgrade. Go to QR, right? Thank you.
A round of applause for Dr. Piri's presentation. Dr. Piri, before you take your seat, we need to open up the floor for questions. You're running away from your questions. Your duty is not done yet. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any question pertaining to the presentation that just ended, please do raise your hands and we'll bring the microphone to you for the Q&A session. As we've been saying before, we've got 5 minutes, so we'll try to do 2 rounds of questions.
Thank you very much, Dr. Waisile Piri, for the powerful presentation. We have really learned a lot. Mine is a question. Being an evangelist of technology and the father of technology, as an industry, as you have rightly said, and as a country, we don't have an AI policy. So I wanted to find out from you, in terms of the key insights and items that can appear in this AI policy, if we happen to have, or you happen to champion and help us as an industry to have this AI policy, and how could this add value to the insurance industry? Thank you very much. Thank you.
We can take 2 more questions. Okay, it seems I see no other hand. Dr. Piri, you may respond to that question.
Yes, we don't have the AI policy. Some of the things that you'd normally have when you're having an AI policy is which data sets are you using to train your AI. So the AI responds based on the data sets that you're pushing in. And you should be able to customize and use the data sets that are from your region and all that. So like I've said, if you're having the whole data set is from the US, how it will respond is a bit different. I think you've seen, some of you guys have seen, whether you've heard a robot committing suicide. It happened a month ago in Japan. Why would a robot commit suicide? It was tired, yeah? If you can check on Google, you should be able to find that. So the data sets matters a lot. if this type of AI, want to use it for the insurance, which data sets are we using? How will it respond? So those are some of the things that you should be able to put into your AI policy. But there are a number of other things that we should be able to sit down and look at. Yeah.
Wisely, before you sit down, I just have a simple question. Of course, we do appreciate AI, and I think it's doing a lot in terms of simplifying our lives. But maybe what are some of the risks associated with AI? Because you didn't mention.
I can see that I'm really discussing with insurers, always worried about risk. Okay, so maybe there are a number of risks that I should be looking at. The first one already, if the data set is different, the response might be different. For example, if you're using the chat box, so you find that you ask it this question and it answers totally different, but that person, if you have, let's say, a policy, I think some of you guys, you've gone to whether ShopRite or game, where you go on a till and there's a figure, but that's a wrong figure. The moment you go to pay and they say, no, this wasn't the figure, you say, you've got the right to say, this is the figure, so I need to pay. So the same way, if the AI gives me a wrong type of information, I should have the right to use that information or sue you. So if you have a policy, that's some of the things that need to be addressed, which currently it will be up to the courts. Okay? The second part, when you're using AI, of course, most people jump into, we're going to lose our jobs. So definitely people at the back end, they're able to do some funny stuff to just tweak the output to do whatever it's supposed to do. So again, those things that should be able to hit at you. Then you've got these issues of power that we just have now. So you need the system to be online 24/7. If you're having power issues, you still have issues with your customers not being happy with you. We can mention a number of them, but maybe out of my head, this is what I can say for now.
Do we have any more questions? This is the last set of questions. Dr. Piri is not too pleased with me, but last night we had a lot of people also, was it here or here? We had a lot of people that did say we were cutting the questions quite short, so my co-host and I are trying to be more accommodating today. So please do make use of these sessions, interact with us and interact with the speakers as they come and present.
Yeah, thank you very much for the interactive session and also the information. I think for me, the question I would have to ask is, now we're going AI and we are talking about technology and all that. But then what about this issue of data protection? How does it marry with AI and data protection? And considering that also data protection is becoming a very key issue, and I think there is also a proposal to have that act also here in Malawi. Thank you.
Can we take one last question so that he can respond to both questions before we proceed?
Thank you. I have a question and then a request. The question is on the Google server I mentioned that is based in the US, and then you had to ask if we could have one here. Are you still pursuing that so that it is done? Secondly, I was very interested to see that Sparks is able to support banks. You mentioned about 80% of the support of the systems. Would you not get into insurance industry also that you can develop insurance systems? Because most of us, we are getting these systems from abroad and we are draining a lot of forex. Thank you.
Doctor, you may respond.
Okay. So I've got 3 questions from 2 people. The first one I'll tackle is to do with data protection versus AI. Across the countries, we're looking at data protection. And when you look at data protection, there's some data. Okay, so there are 2 sets of how you look at data protection. There is one you holding your data. So for example, for Mara, we're saying primary data should at least be here. If it's not here, wherever it is, that's what I've seen. Actually, I expected to be enforced and say the primary data should be in Malawi. Not all the data. Maybe disaster recovery can be outside. But what I've seen in the actual document talks about primary data being here, and you can also have it outside, but when it's outside, the data officer has to do ABC and whatever once they're asked for, which I don't know how we'll enforce that. So when you've got data protection and you're looking at AI, it gives a bit of some advantages, because then you're looking at your data sets being in country. So the training of the model itself can be trained based on your data from here, if we want to change it. Because most of these models are already out there. So it's just, can we make it rain more based on our data? So that's one side that gives us a bit of an advantage. But my honest opinion, we should enforce data protection to have the primary data in country. Not just saying if you're outside, you should do ABC. Coming on the issue of the Google servers, actually it's been more than that. Google servers, even Facebook, we had a bit of some issues. So from the time I was the president, there have been two other presidents, so one and the current one. And we've been pushing it, and we wanted to put this at the Internet Exchange. Before, on my time, we wanted to put at College of Medicine, because that's where the Internet Exchange point was. Now we're having another one in the wrong way. They're about to do another one in Zuzu. So this is still a discussion. But like I said, our friends are using data decision making. You don't go there and sit down and beg. What you should be looking at is, if, let's say, for example, okay, having these arguments, already we normally say, Amara in Sanje. For me, I always say, as a human being, Sanje is part of you. If you want to remove Sanje, you stop being a human being. The only difference in Malawi is how you use your Sanje. So, Mugamba Nandiwa Spark, you take that deal and give to a company outside. Ideally, what you should be doing is create another Malawian and give him the deal. So that at the end of this, the numbers outside will still show this data is for Malawi. As of now, the issue we have, we don't have enough data for these guys to move their systems so that if it bangeso, corrocate him. So maybe this thing, we're still pushing from our side, but they just produce that data. So I'm pushing this back to you guys. You might also want to look at it to say, as a country, what are we losing by pushing all these things outside? The second thing was the insurance systems. So we've been developing a number of systems, but I should be honest, insurances, Nabanga develop systems. The insurance companies that we're working with is being to do with the infrastructure side, so to make sure that you're online 24/7, to do with the disaster recoveries, to do with high availability. So when the application is safe, then within seconds, the other side picks up. So we've been adding value in terms of that. We're already looking into the development of these systems in terms of the application themselves, which maybe next year we'll be talking differently. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Piri. A round of applause for him. I think a takeaway from this is that as insurers, as Malawians, we should stop being very worried about AI and technology. I know that maybe it might be impacted from watching movies like iRobot and Megan, where the AIs took over and they did marvelous things. There's a video that circulated on social media a few years back whereby it was just a give or take an instant. I'm not sure if this is now happening in other countries out there, whereby there was an AI solution where if you were involved in a car accident, all you had to do is input in your phone, I've been involved in a car accident, and a drone comes, it takes pictures of the particular location, the accident itself, assesses the type of accident. So it's quite instant. And at that time, they also get an application where it tells you, this is how much you owe, this is how much has been damaged. That is an example of how AI can actually be useful. Because today, if I'm involved in a car accident, I am required to firstly report it to the police. Then me, myself, who might have been also injured, must also go to my insurer and say, this has happened. Then they need to assess, and there will be a few days whereby I'll be inconvenienced because they need to see that, okay, what exactly happened. And if it is an insurer that is trustable and reliable, they'll give me a vehicle to use in the meantime. There's a lot. So AI, indeed, as Dr. Piri has mentioned, can really be useful in the insurance industry. He is still around for the next 2 days, I believe, to also give us insight into that and how we can all benefit from technology in the insurance sector. A reminder that you can still register from Gulf. Ule Muluhanga is taking registration, so that Ule, maybe just raise your hand where you are. Ule Mulahanga there, she is taking registrations for the golf. You have until noon to register for the golf tournament that's going to take place tomorrow. At this point, it is 4 minutes after 11 o'clock. Let us take a break for tea. So the tea stations have been set up behind you and to my right, your left, just outside here on the foyer. Please go and have a little refreshment. We intend to begin the next session at 25 minutes to 12. So you've got 30 minutes. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Ndi mmene tikuchitira kuno ku Sunbed Mkopola mu boma la Mangochi kumene kuli mkumano waukulu wa Insurance Lakeshore Conference wa chaka cha 2024 umene lakhonza ndi bungwe la Insurance Institute of Malawi pansi pamutu wakuti Transforming Malawi through Insurance, Innovation, Inclusion and Growth towards Malawi 2063. Ndiye kuyambirira kuja takhala tikuona ndithu akuluakulu osiyanasiyana anamandwa kubwera ndithu nkumafotokoza pamenepa nkhani zosiyanasiyana kuti kodi mavuto amene akuoneka ndi mavuto otani komanso kuti tingathane nawo motani. Amene angomaliza kuyankhula apa ndi mkulu wa bungwe lija la ochita malonda m'Malawi muno la Malawi Confederation of Chambers of Commerce and Industry amene watu ndi Dr. Wesley Piri komanso iwowo ndi mkulu wa kampani ya Spark Systems ndipo afotokoza kuti kofunika kwambiri kuti anthu okwira ntchito za insurance adzigwiritsa ntchito ndithu njira za makono akufotokoza za big data komanso to artificial intelligence pofuna kupititsa patsogolo ntchito zawo. Ndiye pakadali pano akuluakulu amenewa akuyamba kaye akamwera madzi popeza alija abwera muno ndikale abwereso pakapita 30 minutes nafeso tibwereso pakapita 30 minutes. Ndiye tikupempheni kuti mukhale pomwepo poti kuphunzira sikumatha.
It's about time.
In the journey of life, the death of a parent is a fork in the road with devastating, uncertain outcomes. When my husband left Chisoma and I behind, the future was uncertain until I learned of the Miners Trust Fund with his pension scheme manager, Nico Pension Services. My husband's hard-earned funds could continue to grow and provide for Chisomo's school fees, medical bills,